Hey everyone, Chris here, and welcome to Awaken Yoga. Yoga with purpose. Yoga your way. This is a strength warrior flow. We're going to be moving through a whole lot of warrior sequences to build strength and heat through our body, stabilizing through our hips, our legs, a lot of standing poses in this dynamic and quick flow. If you've warmed up already, great. If you haven't, have a look at another warm up on there, because we're going to do a quick cat-cow and then get into it. So coming all the way down to the ground, let's put our shoulders stacking over our wrists, knees underneath our hips, into our nice tabletop position, and bringing ourselves through as we open our collarbones and chest to the front on our big inhale and exhale, coming through into a cat, articulating our spine as we round all the way out. Inhale coming through again and opening up. And exhale as we articulate this time, feeling the strength through our shoulders as they roll open a little bit, bringing our spine up, chin tucks close to the chest. And inhale, coming back and open. And this time, as we come through, let's feel our body and the strength of it as we awaken our legs, coming all the way down through our feet. And exhale, coming back. And then just a couple of breaths and cycles as you move here yourself, feeling it over your wrists and your shoulders. Opening those wrists maybe to the side. We put a lot of load on them at different times in yoga poses, so we want to make sure that they're feeling nice and open. This flow is about connecting into the state of movement and breath and cycle. So I thought there was no better place than doing this down by the water, where we can feel that energy and motion of waves coming in and out. As we come back to here, and we're back to our little center position, tuck our toes, and coming up to the first dog of the day. And if this is your first dog, let's just pedal that out a little bit. If you've done quite a few, maybe still pedal it out and see what feels good. Hips might move around. We're going to roll our shoulders back, pulling our spine back, knees bend generously just to preserve our lower back. And if you're feeling stronger, you can lengthen, but our heels don't have to come to the ground. This isn't about that aesthetic. This is about feeling through our body and connecting into the moment. Strengthening all the way up, tailbone pointing up to the sky, and finding our first standing static position. And then coming up to the balls of your feet, tiptoe to the front of the mat, feet pointing to the front, and articulate the spine as we roll all the way up and open, hands coming up above our head, fingertips touch. You may gaze up gently if it feels nice on the neck, and hands coming down to our heart center and opening up and into our Tadasana pose. Shoulders rolling back, strength through our legs, grounding through our feet, tailbone gently pointing down, length up through our spine, open and strong like a mountain. Hands coming back up to the sky, and the inhale through the nose, exhaling through the nose as we bring our hands down past our heart center and opening back up. Inhaling through our nose again, fingertips touch, this time folding at the hips as we come down. Maybe a nice bend through the knees to preserve that back, and coming into our forward fold. And holding here for just a moment. Next inhale, hands come below the knees, pointing our head to the front of the room, lengthening through our spine, strength through our back, and exhaling, coming down to the ground. Inhaling up to our fingertips here to lengthen our spine once more, hips moving to the back of the room, then hands coming down as we step back to our plank pose. Supported plank is a perfectly fine option here, or tucking the toes and keep coming into our first strong plank. Shoulders rolling back, heels lengthening to the back of the room, length and brightness through our spine, and then bending the elbows, coming down through chaturanga all the way to the ground. Feet untuck, you might come up into your cobra pose, where you're not pressing too hard through the hands with length through the spine, or you might want to do the full extension and come to upward dog. Feet pressing into the ground, thighs off the ground to preserve the lower back, collarbones open to the front, and then rolling back over the toes and back to downward facing dog. And with strength and length back here in our dog. Right foot's going to float up to the sky, and tiger curl that in one time, all the way knee to nose, and then taking it back all the way up. This time bringing it up and through to our right thumb. Left foot's going to point to 45 degrees as we come up and into warrior one. Hips moving towards the front of the room, chest to the front of the room, and arms lengthening. Knees tracking over your right ankle and not rolling in. And then exhale, hands down to the ground, right foot back to meet left. Plank up to our dog, onto the ball of our right foot as our left foot floats up to the sky, and we tiger curl that in one time. And then taking it back up to the roof or the sky. And tiger curl, bringing that all the way up and through to our left fingers. Right foot turns to 45 degrees and rise up into our warrior one. And then again in this position, hips moving to the front of the room, collarbones and chest to the front. And preserving length through our spine, hands pointing up, knee to the front. Hands down, framing our left foot steps back to right in plank pose, coming back up to our dog and holding here. From our dog, can we articulate our spine and roll it vertebra by vertebra all the way through and into our plank, and then come back down through chaturanga to the ground. Again, to cobra if that feels nice. We'll come up to upward dog. Chest to the front of the room, collarbone open, then roll back over the toes on the exhale and back to our downward facing dog. Right foot floats back up to the sky here. Tiger curl that through to the front of the mat. Left foot coming to our 45 degrees as we come up and into our warrior one. And hold here. Right knee tracking over our right ankle and then expand it out. Left foot turns to the back edge of the mat, opening ourselves up and into our warrior two. Hips opening up more to the edge of the mat this way, chest pointing to the left side of your mat, right hand to the front, left hand to the back, and hold here. Bring your strength in. Then wimble the hands down to the ground, right foot steps back to meet left into plank pose, and then come back up into our dog. Onto the ball of the right foot, left foot floats up to the sky, left foot comes all the way up to the left thumb. Right foot turns to 45 degrees and we come back up into our warrior one. And lengthen and strengthen here. Feeling strength through both edges of our feet and through our body, coming up through our hips, chest, and up through our hands. And then opening the position into warrior two. Maybe moving your feet around to find that position and the perfect length for you. Left hand to the front of the room, right hand to the back, anchoring you right here, right now, with the strength coming up through your legs, strength through your feet, hips opening, chest nice and bright. Roll those shoulders back and down, and then hands coming down to frame your left foot. The left foot goes back to meet right. This time from plank, coming down to chaturanga. Chaturanga is that nice little point where our elbows are bent, and then down to the ground. Coming up to cobra pose. Or, if you want the full extension, into upward dog. Thighs off the ground so that we're preserving our lower back. Chest open and bright. Rolling back over the toes on the exhale. And coming back into our down dog. And taking 2 stabilizing breaths here. Might have a nice little bend in the knees to preserve the back. Keeping it straight. Or whatever feels good for you. I'm on a bit of a journey because I've got so much sand across this mat right now, but that's okay. Right foot floats up to the sky. Right foot comes all the way up to our right thumb. This time opening into warrior two straight away. We roll open. And coming into our warrior two. And from our warrior two, can we flip our right palm and then bring ourselves into a reverse warrior. Left hand tracks down our thigh and we gaze. Your drishti might be up to the sky, or it might be to your back right hand. And then coming back through to warrior two. One more time, right hand coming across and opening into our reverse warrior. And then this time, bringing our elbow down onto our right knee, we're going to come and open into side angle pose. With our side angle pose, right knee is tracking over our right ankle. We're opening all the way up through our body in one nice long line. And then opening back up into reverse warrior, and hands come down to the ground, framing the right foot steps back to meet left, into plank pose, coming back up to dog. Left foot floats up to the sky, left foot comes all the way up to our left thumb, and we open this time into warrior 2. Holding here. Knee coming to the front of the room, not leaning in. Strength all the way through the body. Chest open, shoulders rolling back. Flipping our left palm, coming over and into our reverse warrior. Gaze is to the roof, or gaze is following the hand. And back into warrior 2. Flipping the palm again, coming back to reverse warrior. And then moving through and into side angle pose. Resting your elbow on your knee, keeping a nice straight line down through the body. Feeling that opening through your side body. Strength into both feet. Then exhale back to warrior 2. And hands coming down to the ground. Left foot back to meet right. And flowing down through chaturanga all the way to the ground. And taking cobra, or coming to the full extension of upward dog. And then rolling back over the toes and into downward facing dog. And taking a breath here. On the inhale, coming back to the ball of our left foot, floating the right foot up to the sky for length all the way through the body, and then bringing that right foot up to our right thumb and rising into our warrior 2. Flipping our right palm and flowing back into reverse warrior. And then coming forward. Now, your elbow can be on the knee or hands to the ground. For a deeper extension, it's completely up to you for side angle. And flowing back to reverse warrior. Now as we come forward, straightening the right knee, bringing our right hand out and further forward, bending and pulling this hip back, and then turning your hands like a clock for triangle. Now you can rest your hand on your leg if that gives you the length through your waist and side body. If you have the extension, go further. If you want to take the toes, go further. I've got the sun in my eyes as I do this pose, but it's fine. Wherever feels good for you. And hold here. Opening and bright. On the next inhale, bring it all the way through and straight up and around to our reverse warrior. And then hands cartwheeling down, framing our right foot, whoa, and then stepping back to plank and coming up to down dog. Moving to the ball of our right foot, left foot floats up to the sky. Left foot comes all the way up to left thumbs. Right foot turns out and you come up and into your warrior 2. And hold. Left palm turns up to the sky, float back, reverse warrior. And then bringing that through and into side angle. Again, holding on to your elbows on your knee here or down to the ground for the deeper extension, wherever works for you. And then flowing back into reverse warrior. Hands coming up this time to our warrior 2 hands. Hip comes back, leaning forward, out and forward. And like turning the dial on the clock, hands come up. Now onto the knee gives you the most extension through your hips to push up. Down further if you have it, but you might find that being up higher is better for your hips and gives you more length and opening. And if you've got a deeper extension down to the toe, completely up to you. This is your practice. That's where you want to be. I'm on some soft sand, so it's a bit different today. At least the sun's not in my eyes on this side. And then in one fluid movement, bring your hand back and around for reverse warrior. And framing our foot, hands by left foot stepping back to meet right, and coming all the way down to the ground, opening up into cobra, or full extension into upward dog, thighs off the ground, and rolling back over the toes, and into downward facing dog. Coming to the ball of our left foot, right foot floats up to the sky, right foot steps up and through the right thumb, and let's come back up into our warrior 2. Knee tracking to the front of the room, length and strength through both arms, anchoring you into this present moment. Feel the stability through both feet and all parts of your feet. Here, right palm turns, flowing back into a reverse warrior. And then knee, hand coming to knee, and opening up into our side angle pose. Hand can come down to the extension. If you have it and you want to try it, bring the left hand behind the back. Just feel nice here. If you want to go further, you can bring your right hand underneath If you have it and it's part of your journey, if you've done it before, coming into a full bind, half bind, partial bind, full bind, whichever way it is, just make sure that your left shoulder's pointing up to the sky and you've got openness and room through your chest and collarbones. Unwinding yourself and flowing back through reverse warrior. And this time as we come back to our warrior two hands, straightening our right leg, hips coming back as our right hand comes forward, turning our hands like pointing a clock, back down. Resting on the knee is perfectly fine, especially if the sun's in your eyes. Coming down further, wherever is part of your journey, but being a little bit higher lets you really open your hips. And we want to keep length and strength wherever we are. Bending the right knee in one fluid movement, come all the way back and through our reverse warrior, and hands frame right foot. Right foot steps back to meet left and come back to down dog. Left foot floats up to the sky. Left foot steps up and through to left thumb. Right foot turning out as we come up into our warrior two. Left knee tracking over left ankle to the front of the room. Strength through both feet. Left arm to the front, right arm to the back. Maybe gaze just to make sure they're both in the right place. Left arm turns, flowing back into reverse warrior. And then left elbow down to knee as we open up into side angle pose. Your left arm may come to the ground. And if you're feeling it today, and it's something you've tried or you want to try just a little bit, maybe you bring your left hand just to your back to feel part of the bind. If your shoulder can come down, you might come back underneath and grab the fingers for a monkey grip, grabbing the hands, or grabbing the wrist and opening your shoulder as we bring strength and stability through our legs in our warrior flow, in our bind, bound, side angle. Unwinding ourselves, let's come back and through for our reverse warrior. And then coming back up to warrior two arms, hip comes to the back of the room, left arm moves out, and then like the arms of a clock, rotating up to the sky, hand on the shin or hand on the ground, wherever feels good for you today. And this way, I don't have the sun in my eyes. Bending a knee, one fluid movement, back up through our reverse warrior, and hands back down, framing the left foot. Left foot steps back to meet right, down to chaturanga. Hold in your chaturanga for just a moment. Heels pointing to the back of the room. Hold it if you can. Hold, hold, hold. Then down to the ground. Coming up into our cobra pose, just gently pressing or to the full extension of our upward dog. Sorry, that was a bit of a surprise. Thought we would just go with it. And then rolling back over the toes and coming back to our downward facing dog. And then coming up to our toes, knees coming to the ground, untucking the toes, and leaning down into our embryo pose, our child's pose. All the way down, head to the ground, arms stretching back, and then flowing nice and open here. And holding this pose. If you want to open your legs, you can open it into more of an open child's pose. And if you want, just bringing the arms out in front of you and head down to the ground. And open into your child's pose here. And feel that. I can't stay in child's pose for long because my microphone's in the ground, and that just sounds a bit weird. But take the time in your child's pose here. You've flowed through a lot of warriors. You've flowed through a lot of dynamic movements here. And flowing and connecting. Like the waves that have been moving next to me. It's the nice rhythm of the day that gets us out of our minds and into our bodies. And pose after pose as we build that. It's just a bit of a metaphor for life. Of step after step we take. And action after action we do. I want to thank you all for coming to flow with me today. It's been a joy flowing outside, even with the sun's in my eyes a little bit. Thanks for joining me on this spring day, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.